Cowboys Pregame Live is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, and by SWBC Mortgage. Join the more than 120,000 customers that we've helped to find their happier way home. Visit swbcmortgage.com to find a pro today.
It is week 11 of the NFL season as we take a live look inside Bank of America Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina, where the Dallas Cowboys will look to continue their hot streak after putting up 640 yards of total offense last week against the New York Giants. The Cowboys will look to do that again today against the Carolina Panthers. Welcome into Cowboys Pregame Live. We are here at the Star in Frisco, the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters, leading you up to kickoff between Cowboys and Panthers, 12 noon Central Time on Fox. He's Barry Church. We've got Isaiah Stanback, and we have the three-time Super Bowl champion Nate Newton down there at the end. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. We've got a loaded show today, no doubt about it. We have Nicole Hutchison. We have Nick Eatman live on the sidelines at Bank of America Stadium. There's a lot to look forward to. But really, this is a road matchup for the Cowboys that look to continue the hot streak that they've had on offense. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. Last week, it was Brandon Cooks. Can they keep up the same level of intensity on the road? Because they've had some discrepancy there between AT&T and anywhere else.
Yeah, I think when you go to the road, I think there was two things at play here. One, you're playing against better competition. San Francisco, Philadelphia, two of the top teams in the NFC. But also, they're going to have to bring their defense with them when they go on the road, all right? Especially in the red zone. Because if you look at their losses on the road, 49ers, 4 of 5 in the red zone. Philadelphia, 3 of 3 in the red zone. Arizona Cardinals, they were 2 of 2 in the red zone. So if you want more success on the road, you're going to have to bring your defense with you, and that defense is going to have to protect the end zone.
You know what? Yeah, they have had better competition on the road, but unfortunately for the Carolina Panthers, they are not tough competition, and I think this isn't going to be a problem for them. You talk about the Carolina Panthers, one of the teams is at the bottom of the league right now, and then our offense is coming off their best game of the year is going against one of the worst defenses that this league has to provide.
You know what I like about it, man? You're right. Defense you have to have. But you have to have a run game. You have to have consistent special teams. And more importantly, you got to be disciplined. Alignment, assignment, and being confident in who you're going against and how you're doing it. Dominate, like you say.
And all of you guys bring up phenomenal points and statistics and just the feeling around it all. But my question goes back to the simplicity of it all. Why is it different being on the road versus at home? I mean, penalties certainly play a factor. Maybe the home cooking plays a factor. There should be a lot of Cowboys fans out there, but why is it so different?
It's hard to put your finger on it. It's hard to give you a real answer when you talk about road versus home. But to me, I always look at the fans. When you're at home in AT&T Stadium, in the Cowboys Stadium, that fans, they energize you out there. That kickoff is electric. The defense on third down, that place is a madhouse. So that fans, they bring the energy to you. On the road, it's a little bit different. But against the Carolina Panthers, it might be a home game for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, the way that we've been seeing the fans show up in the pregame so far, this definitely looks like a home game. But in terms of, yeah, I agree with you, Barry. You can't put your finger on it. You know, you talk about the Arizona Cardinals. You went out there, you swung and you missed, right? You didn't take that opponent seriously. The 49ers, well, you just got beat up. So you talk about those two games right there. They weren't that effective in those. But this game particularly, okay, I don't foresee that being a problem. These guys are on a mission since the bye week. They have been absolutely just clobbering everybody who comes in their way. And I don't foresee this being any different.
It's the old man theory. I got the wisdom. I'm gonna tell you, it is the fans. It is the fans that make you feel good when you have a bad play. You come back and have a good play. You hear the cheer of the crowd. When you're away, you don't have that. It's the boos. It's the hate. At home, it's love. That is the total difference.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to feed off of that hate, right? You got to feed off of that and use that to your favor. I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of that in Carolina today. Like you said, they're 1-8. They haven't been playing well, and they have a rookie quarterback. But it has been 50 years since the Cowboys have defeated a number 1 overall pick as a rookie quarterback. It's been a long time. 1971 was the last time they did it. Bryce Young hasn't been great this season. He's 1-7 in his starts, dead last in terms of passing yards per attempt, and then the touchdown to the interception ratio just isn't there. Isaiah, how do they get it done against Bryce Young, and how do they keep him off balance?
Well, it all starts up front. Their offensive line is not very sure. These guys are not protecting him. They're giving up some of the most pressures in the league. Bryce Young, you're seeing the struggles that he has with his inability to be able to set his feet and be able to deliver a good ball. They've done a great job of putting good personnel around him, but it all comes down to, as a quarterback, do I have the comfort of sitting back there, being able to go through my reads reads as a young quarterback and be able to have the confidence and be able to go through my mechanics and deliver a good ball. Right now, he doesn't.
And if you're the Carolina Panthers and you want success with Bryce Young, you got to move the pocket. It's simple as that. You can't leave him in the pocket and be a statue. Parsons and that defensive line will come after him it's going to be a disaster pretty much the entire game. So if you're Carolina, move the pocket, get him cleaner looks out there.
Have you seen anybody wearing the number 61, maybe a 42 for Barry Church, 86 for Isaiah Stanback? Anybody out there with that?
Yeah, I do see. Yeah, I see a 42. I'm not sure it's a Barry Church. I don't know, but we're not going to go down that road again, are we, Barry? No, I'm kidding. I don't see one. I don't see a 61 at all. I see a lot of 11s, and I'm assuming those are Parsons. But I did talk to Danny White just a second ago, so that could be 11. There's a 54. You know what? I see a 54 jersey with the patch from like the 1985 season, 84 season, actually. I think that's an old Randy White jersey. That's pretty awesome if that's the case. Right next to a Darryl Green. I mean, I think this is – I'm stuck in 1985 right here just looking at these two guys talking.
Well, let's go from 54 to 55. Leighton Vander Esch out for the season. Got to hear from the media or from the players during media availability this week about how big of an impact that is. How much do you anticipate that playing a factor as the season goes on?
Cowboys just ran onto the field here. You're talking about Leighton Vander Esch. Actually, Dak just ran onto the field. But how does Leighton – I think you asked me about Leighton Vander Esch. So, honestly, the good thing about it is they've been prepared already for this. I mean, they kind of have been having to deal with this not only this year, but in years past as well, because you have to be prepared for this. The same with like Tyron Smith. Unfortunately, these guys have been injury prone at times, and so therefore they have to have some backup a plan there. They've been doing it with Damone Clark. Obviously, Marquise Bell has done a really nice job in there as well. Rashaan Evans is now on the roster. So I think that they've helped themselves, but it's going to be hard to replace a player like Leighton Vander Esch.
Now, any other storylines that you want to keep an eye on as we go into kickoff?
On the field? Like for this game?
Either way, on the field, off the field, just in general.
Well, of course you would ask me that. I mean, if you want to keep an eye on former coaches that are down here talking to Jerry and maybe what their status is going to be, any kind of honorable status that they might have here in the future, maybe that could happen. But I don't want to, speculate too far.
Yeah.
But, as for players on the field, I think this is one of those things that, anytime you're facing a team that you should beat, you got to just jump on them early. That's the key. Don't give them any gifts. We talk about this all the time, Christmas. Don't give Carolina any gifts. If they just do what they're supposed to do, go out there, don't turn the ball over. This game should be ugly, especially since it's an unofficial home game for the Cowboys.
Nick Eatman joining us on the sideline from Bank of America Stadium. Nick, thanks so much. We'll talk to you again down the line. He'll have Stephen Jones later on the web portion of the show. But when we come back, we talk about the historic connection between Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb on a historic pace, and can he keep that going against Carolina? Next.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
CeeDee, at this latest stretch, you've kind of set a lot of Cowboys records along the way, some other records. How meaningful is that to you at this stage?
It's very meaningful. Obviously, it means I'm doing something correct, and all the hard work is paying off, but the job's still not done.
How much do you want to get Michael's records?
A lot. A lot. That's not really necessarily my focus, but at the end of it all, that's definitely something that I'm trying to be on top of.
You've discussed that with him, haven't you?
No, he hasn't.
Oh, really? You haven't talked to him about it?
No.
How meaningful was it to you that Dak wanted to go back into the game to get you the record the other day, and that Mike eventually did send you back into the game, made sure you got it?
Speaks volume of both their characters. Obviously, Dak is definitely willing to, put his body on the line. Granted, anything could happen within those two plays or one completion. And for Mike, I appreciate that, man. It was a great moment for me, of course. Great to celebrate with my guys, and No, it was a nice moment.
They look like the offense they want to be. And
Prescott has been extremely sharp.
The first Cowboys player to have over 300 yards and 3 passing touchdowns in 3 straight.
CeeDee Lamb with the streak. I don't even want to call it a streak because that's who he is.
You became the first player in NFL history with 3 consecutive games of 150 yards and 10 catches. How does that feel?
It's amazing.
The connection with Brandon Cooks was working so well right from the beginning.
left side of the end zone, Brandon Cooks, touchdown. Deep for Cooks, caught it at the 45-yard line.
We're gonna make sure that doesn't stop. We're not satisfied with this. I can promise you that.
It's only the beginning for Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, both of which have been on an absolute heater over the last 3 weeks. Offensively, Mike McCarthy has that thing rolling as we've got it rolling here on Pregame Live. Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Isaiah, I'll start with you as our resident quarterback of the group. I mean, this passing game has looked next level since week 8, and it's been really because of what Dak Prescott's been able to do. What has made him so successful?
Decision-making. It's come down to decision-making, along with Coach McCarthy getting more comfortable with the personnel and this offense. So people have to remember, just because Coach McCarthy has been the head coach of this team over a number of years does not mean that he was the one calling the plays. Now that he's the one calling the plays, guys have to get acclimated, and that's exactly what's taking place. Dak Prescott's making better decisions. He's not forcing the ball. He's pulling it down and taking sacks at times, throwing it away at times instead of forcing it into coverage. Now you're starting to see him getting some continuity with his receivers. Obviously, they featured CeeDee Lamb. Now they're finding a way to get Brandon Cooks. Now they got to find a way to get TP. But it's all starting to come together. It's right around Thanksgiving time when you start trying to get all your ingredients ready.
Everybody's eating.
Yeah, everybody's starting to eat.
You didn't leave much meat on the bone, but I say it's confidence. I mean, he took it off stats. He's the quarterback. But it's the confidence that he has now in Coach McCarthy, knowing the offense, knowing what to do. Like you said, I think he's moving around with his legs, not to run, but just to escape pressure. Giving his receivers a chance to get over. Before, he used to just stand back there and take it. Now he's moving around. He understands that, okay, if I got a hot read over here, he gets to it much quicker. So kid is playing with confidence.
Yeah, exactly what you guys said. It's all about decision making. Dak has been extremely impressive these past 4 games. He's taking care of the football, like you guys said. Just 2 interceptions compared to 12 touchdowns in that span. And if he's able to continue to use all the weapons around him, not just focusing on CeeDee Lamb, it's going to be a nightmare for defenses to game plan for this offense.
And of course, it doesn't hurt the fact that he has one of the best wide receivers in the NFL.
That's true.
To throw him the football. I mean, to throw the football too. I mean, has CeeDee Lamb emerged as the best wide receiver in the NFL? I mean, just plain and simple, no Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase hasn't been putting up numbers like CeeDee Lamb. In fact, nobody has been putting up numbers like CeeDee Lamb, even over the course of franchise history. He has a chance to really pass some great names, including Michael Irvin, Nate's former teammate, Isaiah's former teammate, T.O., Bob Hayes in the mix as well. I mean, Nate, when you look at this list, CD is certainly square in the middle of it. How impressive has he been?
He's been real impressive. And listening to Mike talk, Michael Irvin, he's been raving about it because he is one of the better 88s. He can play the slot. Mike and Drew Pearson, all the rest of the guys, they basically played outside. But by him being a slot receiver, you cannot tell where he's at. Now, last week we did a little quick reverse to the end zone with a run play. Yeah, he's the best, but Mike, I love you.
This versatility that he has and how Coach McCarthy is starting to utilize him with the personnel groupings and the formations and the different route concepts is starting to pay off. And that, along with the fact that he's able to make all these plays, whether it's a short pass or whether it's a long pass, is starting to pay off dividends.
Yeah, look, CeeDee Lamb's a top 3 wide receiver in the National Football League. When defenses put all their focus in on you, double teaming, all their resources to shut you down, and you're still able to go out there and have 3 straight games of 150-plus yards, you've officially become that guy. All right, he's that guy right now, and he's opening up so much more for the rest of this offense, for Cooks, for Gallup, for Ferg. So this guy's eating right now, and hopefully it continues for the rest of the season.
And we'll talk more about Brandon Cooks and Jake Ferguson in the online portion of the show as well. If not, you got to get over to DallasCowboys.com here in a couple minutes. When we come back, though, Dallas not even just having success on the field. They're having it off the field as well as they serve their early Thanksgiving with the Salvation Army. We'll talk about how the Cowboys are doing the most good when we come back.
Carolina offense has been struggling, but what do you see when you look at Bryce Young on film?
You know, I see a quarterback, you know, who's just trying to basically find his way. I think he's grown in a lot of ways. Are times where he steps up and makes big throws for his team. You see drives where they put it all together. So, you know, he's a very competitive quarterback, or else he wouldn't have been a #1 pick. So I think he creates a lot of problems because people forget how mobile he is and how good he is in the pocket. You see him avoid sacks a lot, break out of sacks a lot. So, I mean, he's a durable, must-see quarterback.
When you were off the ball on Sunday, there wasn't much of any offensive success. You guys had 3 sacks while you were off the ball. What do you think that change of pace does, and what are your thoughts about when you're not on the ball?
Yeah, it changes the pace just because, you know, people still fear me off the ball as much as on the ball because how many blitzes I do and things like that. So we're just throwing out some different personnels and things like that to put on film, see if we can reuse it. And obviously we had a lot of success in it, so we might come back to it, especially, you know, towards teams that like to go big on big. We got personnels and packages for that. So we're excited to have a lot of success to it.
Welcome back to Cowboys Pregame Live. We're at the Star in Frisco. Every Friday and Saturday you can catch the Christmas extravaganza powered by Reliant. It started this Friday and Saturday. It'll roll all the way up until December 16th, 6 p.m. It's free and open to the public. Great for the entire family. As we welcome you back into Cowboys Pregame Live. That's Nicole Hutchison joining us. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. Nicole, you had the opportunity of a lifetime to get to go and see the Cowboys serve an early Thanksgiving. Thanks to the Salvation Army. What an event this is on a yearly basis. One of our favorites for the organization.
Yeah, and definitely a special one because you're seeing a mix of different people. I heard from the captain that they either can't meet ends meet around this time of year or they've been.
So now I'm on to a new week, and I'm just hoping to continue to just build off of that.
From afar, what do you think is his stretch right now?
8? Oh, I mean, it's special. Like, I mean that. Like, it's one thing to do it, one time or a couple times throughout the year, but to do it consecutively, that's just a testament to the work that he puts in, that chemistry that him and Dak have, and just how great he is.
How does that open up things for you guys as a receiver?
I mean, because at the end of the day, like, you turn on the film, you got to try to find a way to stop 88, right? So the only way to do that is probably putting multiple guys on them. And for the other guys, that means you probably get them one-on-one. And that's what you ask for in this league.
Well, distribution is a little bit, I guess it's going better. The last couple of weeks, what do you think that is?
I think that's just the trust factor, working on it throughout the week. And at the end of the day, Dak having the trust in all his guys to be able to make plays, throughout the game.
Brandon, did it feel like old times for you again? In that game, all of a sudden, ball's coming your way?
I mean, like I said, it definitely felt good. All the work that you put in, and when you go out there and you reap that, it feels good. So I'm hoping to continue to build off that.
I know you were trusting the process, but it seemed like there was a concerted effort to get you more involved this weekend. Did you feel that going into the game?
For me, I was just in the same mindset, trusting the process and, letting Coach deal with that. So that might be a question for Coach on that one.
First pass of the game.
No, that just happened. That's the game. That's just the game of football.
Cowboys Pregame Live was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, and by SWBC Mortgage. Join the more than 120,000 customers that we've helped to find their happier way home. Visit swbcmortgage.com to find a pro today.
We wrap things up on the TV portion of Cowboys Pregame Live. You can join us on DallasCowboys.com and all the Dallas Cowboys social channels as we lead you up to kickoff between the Cowboys and the Panthers. For Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. See you on the internet.
Hey there, Cowboys Nation. I'm Lidiana Reyes with 3 things to know going to this week's game against the Carolina Panthers. Number 1, the magic number is 4 for number 4, Dak Prescott. Prescott has passed for 4 touchdowns in 9 career games, second all-time among Cowboys quarterbacks. With 4 touchdowns on Sunday, Prescott would tie Tony Romo with 1 more for the most games with 4 passing touchdowns in franchise history. But for that to happen, Prescott's O-line needs to watch out for the Panthers' top rusher, Brian Burns. Number 2, the Cowboys fans' prayers were answered last Sunday against the Giants with Brandon Cooks catching 9 passes for 173 receiving yards and 1 touchdown, which is tied for the second most in his career and tied for second on the team for a single game in 2023. It was also his first 100-yard receiving game as a Cowboy. Will he go back-to-back 100-yard games this Sunday for the first time since he played for Houston in 2021? Number 3, the Cowboys are spreading the love on offense. Last Sunday marked the first time in franchise history with 2 rushers over 50 rushing yards for Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle, and 2 150-yard receivers, CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. Tony Pollard had 15 carries for 55 yards, and Rico Dowdle had 12 carries for 79 yards and 1 touchdown. Will the running game get going? For Dallas Cowboys Media, I'm Lidiana Reyes.
Hello there, everybody, on DallasCowboys.com and the Cowboys streaming channel. Special thanks to Lidiana Reyes, our media intern, doing a great job on her 3 things this week. And got a chance to make her pregame live debut today. She does a phenomenal job behind the scenes. She's running that camera over there as we speak. Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. Cowboys-Panthers coming up at noon. We're actually going to get off the air a little bit early today. I'll tell you why in a moment. It's just a bit of a tease here. But let's talk about Micah Parsons first. Micah Parsons held without any sacks, any tackles, any pressures last week. Had zeros on the board. He left the locker room a little disgruntled, but he said throughout the week he was happy about the win and he was able to kind of control those emotions. But Barry, are you concerned about Micah Parsons being shut out in that game against New York?
No, I'm not concerned at all. I think that was just a little blip when you talk about the season overall. All the greats go through these kind of dry spells when they're getting triple teamed, they're double teamed, and it's just up to Micah Parsons to be able to find a way to impact the game if he's not getting these sacks or tackles. If he's getting triple teamed at the line, get your hands up there and bat some balls down. So to me, this is just a little dry spell, and he'll be back hopefully today against the Panthers.
Yeah, I have absolutely 0 issues with how he performed last week. Listen here, the reality is you're not going to get sacks every game. And that's the stat line that everybody wants to look at. That's the one that's always highlighted. But the reality is his greatest impact is the fact that he can put pressure on the quarterback. And when he puts pressure on the quarterback, they can't set their feet. If they can't set their feet, then they can't complete the balls. And it doesn't matter if he's eating, D-Law eating, I don't care who else is eating. It's Thanksgiving and everybody's going to get something.
It's just come with maturity. I mean, the body language. I mean, if you're a leader, you talk about it all the time, Isaiah, being a former quarterback. You just control yourself, see the big picture instead of just a little bit more because you were a linebacker coming out of college. Just gradually get those instincts back and do what you have to do.
And, of course, Micah Parsons, even without the pressure, is still taking some of that attention away from a lot of those other guys. They had 5 sacks last week. It wasn't like the Cowboys' defense didn't get home. They just didn't necessarily have Micah Parsons get home last week. It's part of it.
And Micah Parsons still leads the NFL in pressures.
Yes, he does.
So everybody's going to highlight one game. This dude is still the complete dog that everybody knows him to be. So let him have one little week of chilling. He'll be back today.
And, of course, Carolina has their own element of Micah Parsons. Brian Burns, we'll talk a little bit about him as well. But first, we got to check in on the sidelines at Bank of America Stadium, where Nick Eatman is with Cowboys COO Stephen Jones.
Thank you, Kyle, and I'm here with Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer, right before Cowboys taking on the Carolina Panthers. What is your feel for this week and how the Cowboys have prepared for this game and, ready? Doesn't matter what records look like, you got to be focused.
Well, this team knows that all too well after what happened down in, in Arizona against the Cardinals. And, I thought against the Giants they prepared, they had a great week, and I think the same holds true for this week. Everybody was laser focused on the task at hand, and they've got some really good football players over there, a great young quarterback who's feeling his way, but he's a rookie. But, you know, at the end of the day, we've got to go out there and take care of business.
What do you like about the way your offense is playing? Obviously, you know, CeeDee Lamb is red hot, Dak Prescott. Do you feel like this is a good opportunity to kind of keep that going?
Well, you hope so. I mean, we've got to go out there and execute and take care of business. You know, we can always get better week in, week out. We've got to continue to improve as a football team. Certainly, you know, still feel like we can run the ball a little better. But I think what Dak's doing with getting the ball to obviously CeeDee Lamb, but Cooks and Ferguson, Tony Pollard, all that group should just ultimately loosen some things up for that running game, and certainly something Mike's focused on. You know, as you head toward the cold part of the season, you want to be able to run the ride.
Jake Ferguson is really kind of elevated himself as you know, the starting tight end, but really a go-to guy for Dak. Is that kind of what you thought that he had a chance to do last year?
Absolutely. I mean, we saw that in him. I think Schoonmaker's got some of the same stuff. It's just, you know, time on the job, and both those guys do a great job for us. We'll got Hendershot coming back up probably in a couple of weeks, and McKeon does a great job as well.
Micah Parsons did not get a tackle or a sack last week, and he was pretty frustrated about it. He admitted to that. He said he'll be ready for this game. Is he at his best when he is maybe a little bit ticked off about something?
Absolutely. I think he, when that adrenaline starts going on number 11, we all know what can happen, and I think he's ready to roll.
You got Carolina here, and before you've got 3 home games, not to look ahead, but how important would it be to get to 7-3 right now, knowing you've got these 3 at home?
Well, this is so important to win this game. We'll worry about what's after that. But so important to come in here, execute, play well, and hopefully get a W.
All right, sounds good. That's Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. Kyle, we'll throw it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Nick. As we wrap things up here on Cowboys Pregame Live, Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We have to get off the air because Jerry Jones has scheduled a press conference on the sidelines at Bank of America Stadium. Prior to kickoff, 11:40 is when that should go live. We will carry that live on DallasCowboys.com. The reports are on the internet right now that Jimmy Johnson will be placed in the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Honor, the historic head coach, and of course, head coach for Nate Newton. Nate, if this is indeed true, and this is what the press conference is about coming up at 11:40, what are your initial thoughts?
Long overdue, man. We was talking about this earlier. I thought, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, this happening now, coming out of nowhere. I'm excited. I'm already there. I'm already in the stadium. I'm just hugging Coach right now. I'm going to get ready to text him, tweet him, whatever, however they do it in social media. I love this day. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Hey, for breaking those walls and letting your man in.
It really is a special moment, and when it started to come down and some of those tweets and some of the news was there, it feels, it's emotional, right, for you, because it has been so long.
Because I was just a guy.
Yeah.
I was just a guy. Then Jimmy came in, and he brought other players in that demanded that you play at a higher level. So I had to pick my game up. Coach Johnson always challenged me, you know. He would tell Troy, you know, have a great day, Troy. Be good, Emmett. Mike, do your thing. Hey, Nate, you may not be here Monday. You got to play. Your life is on the line. And people be like, man, that's ugly. But that's how I was motivated.
Yeah.
Every day I had to be challenged in some way, somehow. And he was always giving me that eye like, you all right today? Do I need to put you on the scale? I mean, you're a little overweight. I mean, he was just that guy.
Yeah, he really
was. That knew his players. Awesome. Love you to death, Coach Johnson.
There is a game to be played. Cowboys-Panthers at noon. We're stepping aside. We've got to go to the press conference right now at Bank of America Stadium. So thank you for joining us on Cowboys Pregame Live. We'll see you next week, and we'll hear more from Nate Newton about this historic day on Cowboys postgame coverage right after the final whistle.